core group, it's my pleasure to deliver to you our opening statement ahead of today's final deliberations. I think we all are proud to be contributors to this platform. And I would say that this platform, the IGAD platform, is now more relevant than ever, perhaps. It's a complex environment. It has been mentioned. The official development assistance is being reduced, will continue to be reduced in the coming years. The region is still affected by a complex displacement crisis. On the conflict side, we have seen, of course, the continuation of the situation in Sudan, where since April 2023, the conflict has forced millions of people to flee their homes, increasing the number of displaced people to around 12 million by November 2025. 7.5 million people remain within Sudan, while 4 million people sought refuge outside the country. In South Sudan, 2.5 million people remain displaced, in addition to 600,000 refugees. Conflict still affects Somalia, Ethiopia. But further than conflict, we have the regional threat, of course, of climate change and its consequences. This multiplies the risks of displacement. In 2024, the Horn of Africa region 7 countries recorded 1.3 million internal disaster displacement, mostly for floods and droughts. So in this context, of course, people's movement remains an important resilient strategy for affected communities, either by conflict or by the consequences of climate change. And I think in this regard, we would like, as European Union and core group donor members, to salute IGAD's and IGAD member states' efforts to support local integration, support durable solutions, indeed, return, local integration, resettlement, and return, as I was saying. Of course, all this takes place in well-existed legal frameworks that have been referred to. They provide guidelines for protection and assistance across the region: 1951 Refugee Convention, its 1967 Protocol, 1969 OAU Convention, and as well, of course, the 2012 Kampala Convention that provide all these guidelines. But we believe that the IGAD platform adds to this and to this legal framework. And I would underline probably 3 things that the platform is doing. First of all, it supports the Nairobi process, and therefore this, which means basically shifting the response to forced displacement from a humanitarian and security focus to a broader development-oriented framework. Secondly, it has sustained the South Sudan Solutions Initiatives. We are well aware that the challenges now affecting it and linked to conflict and political violence. But in spite of that, we think it achieved important milestones, no less, for example, the launch of the South Sudan National Durable Solutions Strategy and Plan of Action. Thirdly, the platform has contributed to the advancement of the Global Compact for Refugee pledges, including Shirika Plan in Kenya, Mekate strategy in Ethiopia, which are government-led strategies aimed at transforming traditional refugee camps into more inclusive, self-reliant, and development-oriented settlements. On the EU side, we have been a supporter of the IGAD platform since 2021, with 17.5 million provided so far. And we have focused on 2 aspects. On the one hand, the support to the Secretariat as such, and helping, contributing to their work in terms of implementation of key platform priority activities, in particular under the Sudan and South Sudan Solutions Initiative. But we have also, of course, provided direct support to the activities that the platform has facilitated. And here we are working mostly through our partners in UNHCR, in Sudan, in South Sudan, Ethiopia, in Kenya, and Uganda. We have focused on regional youth peace building, on data and evidence collection, on registration, on documentation, and on access to basic services. Of course, there are challenges that are present and are there. And I think at 3 levels, I would say. On the level of the platform itself, we believe that technical coordination meetings, this coordination at technical level has been perhaps insufficiently and not regular enough, and we would call for this to be more regular. At the secretarial level, of course, there are gaps in terms of human resources, and indeed, Secretariat could benefit from increased financial support from IGAD member states as well as from efficiency gains. On the donor side, on the development partner side, we can do more to increase coordination among ourselves and to reduce overlaps. Excellencies, colleagues, let me finalize by extracting some reflections from discussions that have been taking place here on the previous 2 days. On the one hand, as I was saying at the beginning, we are very much aware of the complexities of the current global context. ODA is reducing. The European Union is not in a position to fill the gap that other development partners have left in terms of reducing their contributions. What we are here are committed to continue to facilitate the coordination, the efficiency engaged, the work of the platform in terms indeed in advancing on durable solutions for return, as I was saying today, for local integration as well when this is not possible. I will also like to underline from the, I think, discussions you have had these 2 previous days, the accent that has been put in terms of the increasing importance of cities as hosting an increasing number of migrants and forced displaced population as such. We are, I think, on our side, happy to adapt to that and dedicate resources to this support to cities, which ideally comes together with an advance on the evolution to local authorities on their capacities regarding for displacement. Excellencies, partners, colleagues, in closing, let me underline again the European Union commitment to the platform and its efforts for coordination and looking for durable solutions. We will mobilize, as 2026 start, further 15 million euros to continue to fund the work of the Secretariat as well as the activities. We will do that, of course, in coordination with the IGAD Secretariat and with our partners, UNHCR, UN Habitat, UNDP, and we plan to aim in particularly addressing the complex links between climate change, conflict, and increased rapid urbanization, as I was saying. We also we will look to contribute to the strengthening of the IGAD systems, and in particularly improving the coordination between the Secretariat, C1, and ICPAC. And with that, let me allow on behalf of all core group partners to thank you all IGAD and its member states to having invited us to this ministerial today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Our deepest appreciation once again to the European Union for a very strong support over time. And in a special way, I would like to inform the conference that the Executive Secretary, His Excellency Dr. Orkene, he's actually hosting a very special guest. And he comes with also colleagues from EU headquarters, Brussels. And I just would like to request the EU delegates to stand up. The EU delegate from Brussels and the EU delegate from Juba and other EU delegates who are here. So Vittorio comes from Brussels. Guest of honor, he has been with us here for 3 days. And we are very happy. Vittorio, you're welcome to the region, and the other delegates from Juba, from Kenya, most welcome to the region. Thank you. Excellency, the IGAD chair, the Republic of Djibouti, is going to address us, and I would like to invite the Honorable Minister of Interior, His Excellency Honorable Said Noah Hassan, to address the meeting. Welcome, Excellency.
Mr. Honorable Kipchuma Murkomen, Secretary Cabinet of Minister of Interior and the National Administration in Kenya. Mr. Warkene Gebeyu, Secretary Executive de l'IGAD, Dr. Warkene Gebeyu. Représentants de l'Union européenne, ici présente, aux représentants du HCR au Kenya, à la représentante donc aux ministres représentant donc les pays de l'IGAD ici, His Excellency Ali Yusuf Ali, Minister of Interior of Somalia, His Excellency Mr. Albino Akol Atak, Minister of South Sudan, His Excellency David Muhozi, Ministre of Uganda, à la directrice en charge des réfugiés en République fédérale et démocratique d'Éthiopie, aux différents cadres qui ont travaillé très durement ici, et aux distingués représentants des organisations internationales, ainsi qu'aux représentants des partenaires financiers ici présents. Je les félicite pour ces travaux de 3 jours et qui ont vraiment donné des résultats concrets que nous verrons donc par la suite lors du communiqué. Avant de commencer mon discours, je voudrais également féliciter Madame Monica, représentante des réfugiés donc, au Kenya, à qui je voudrais dire que reçu. Permettez-moi tout d'abord à exprimer mes remerciements au gouvernement de la République du Kenya pour l'accueil chaleureux qu'il nous a réservé, ainsi qu'au secrétariat de l'IGAD pour l'organisation exemplaire de ce rendez-vous essentiel à la poursuite de notre action collective. Permettez-moi également, avant d'entrer dans le cœur de nos travaux, d'adresser un message de solidarité sincère et fraternelle au peuple soudanais. Les épreuves qu'il traverse depuis des années nous interpellent avec gravité. En ces temps particulièrement difficiles, la République de Djibouti ainsi que les États membres de l'IGAD renouvellent leur soutien indéfectible et forment l'espoir ardent de voir le Soudan retrouver rapidement le chemin de la paix, de la stabilité et de la réconciliation nationale. Mesdames et messieurs, au-delà de cette préoccupation humaine majeure, notre présence à Nairobi témoigne de notre engagement commun à promouvoir une réponse régionale coordonnée, ambitieuse et durable face aux défis des réfugiés et des déplacements des forcés. Ces dernières années, d'importants efforts concertés ont renforcé la coopération entre États, institutions régionales et partenaires internationaux, afin que nos engagements ne demeurent pas théoriques, mais se traduisent en actions concrètes, mesurables et pérennes. C'est dans cet esprit que notre région s'est dotée d'un cadre stratégique robuste en matière de protection des réfugiés. Celui-ci repose sur des principes fondamentaux, à savoir garantir l'accès à une protection juridique effective, assurer la disponibilité des services essentiels comme l'éducation, la santé et la protection sociale. ainsi que la promotion de l'inclusion progressive des réfugiés au sein des systèmes nationaux et de la vie socio-économique des communautés hôtes. Ce cadre reconnaît également le potentiel des réfugiés et leur contribution au développement local, national et régional. Toutefois, malgré la pertinence de cette vision, le contexte de l'année 2025 demeure marqué par d'importantes contraintes. Les besoins humanitaires augmentent à un rythme soutenu, souvent plus rapidement que les ressources disponibles, mettant sous pression les budgets des pays hôtes. Doivent concilier Merci. Il convient de saluer les progrès significatifs accomplis. Avec des ressources modestes, nos pays ont préservé l'espace d'asile, renforcé l'accès aux services de base et poursuivi la collaboration avec les partenaires pour promouvoir l'autonomie, la résilience et la dignité des personnes réfugiées. Ces avancées reflètent une volonté politique claire, celle d'inclure les réfugiés dans notre marche commune vers un développement durable et partagé. Mesdames et Messieurs, depuis le sommet spécial de mars 2017, consacré aux solutions durables pour les réfugiés somaliens, notre région a bâti une approche reposant sur une compréhension commune des enjeux et du déplacement forcé. La déclaration de Nairobi a constitué, en nous faisant passer d'une logique strictement humanitaire à une approche orientée vers le développement fondée sur la coopération régionale et la responsabilité partagée. La plateforme de l'IGAD s'est dans ce sens pleinement inscrite dans ces dynamiques, en intégrant les principes de ces déclarations dans ses politiques nationales et de protection d'accès aux services sociaux, d'éducation, de santé et de moyens de subsistance. Cependant, je souhaiterais exprimer ici une préoccupation importante concernant les réductions drastiques par le HR en 2025 qui ont lourdement aggravé la vulnérabilité des réfugiés. Ces coupes ont réduit l'accès aux services essentiels, fragilisé les moyens de subsistance et accru la pression sur les communautés hôtes déjà confrontées à de multiples défis. C'est pourquoi je souhaite saluer ici le déterminant de l'IGAD, dont l'engagement constant contribue à réduire la vulnérabilité des réfugiés, à renforcer leur résilience et à promouvoir leur inclusion socio-économique et offrir des perspectives crédibles de solutions durables. J'ai d'ailleurs l'intime conviction que la plateforme soutien de l'IGAD continuera de jouer un rôle décisif dans la mobilisation de l'aide en allégeant la pression sur les pays hôtes, ensuite Kampala et Mombasa. Cette réunion de Nairobi vise à atteindre plusieurs objectifs majeurs. Analyser tout d'abord les tendances actuelles du déplacement forcé, puis d'évaluer les progrès accomplis et les défis persistants. Par ailleurs, examiner le niveau d'avancement des engagements de la déclaration de Nairobi. Et enfin, revitaliser les groupes centraux et élargir la base d'acteurs mobilisés. Enfin, je reste convaincu que les États de l'IGAD, les États membres de l'IGAD, se souscrivent pleinement à ces objectifs et demeurent convaincus qu'une coordination forcée entre les acteurs humanitaires, les institutions de développement et les partenaires techniques reste indispensable pour garantir la dignité, la stabilité et la résilience aux personnes affectées. En conclusion, en ma qualité de président de l'IGAD, je réaffirme notre engagement indéfectible en faveur d'une approche régionale, cohérente, fondée sur la solidarité, la responsabilité partagée et le développement inclusif. Nous appelons tous nos partenaires à intensifier leurs efforts afin de garantir aux réfugiés des conditions de vie dignes, un accès équitable aux services essentiels et des perspectives durables et pérennes. Je reste convaincu qu'en conjuguant nos efforts, nous pouvons bâtir une région plus résiliente, plus stable et véritablement solidaire. Sur ce, je vous remercie pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you so much, Excellency. Thank you for your guidance, for your real analysis of the situation, receipt of the message from our refugee representative. IGAD Chair, for your support through the years in which you have been the lead of IGAD member states. Dr. Workene, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, I would like to invite our guest of honor, the Cabinet Secretary of Interior National Coordination of the Government of the Republic of Kenya, our senior brother, the Honorable Minister Onesmus Kipchumba, to address the meeting and also open our conference. Welcome, Excellency.
Thank you very much. Asante sana. The representative of the IGAD Chair, His Excellency Syed Noor Hassan, the Minister of Interior of the Republic of Djibouti, my colleagues, fellow ministers, representing the various countries present. Maybe let me mention a few of the names. That is Ali Yusuf, the Minister of Interior of Somalia, Albino Akol Atak, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Disaster Management of the Republic of Southern Sudan, General Babakar Ali, the Interior Minister of Sudan, David Muozi, the Minister of Internal Affairs of the Republic of Uganda, and the Director of Refugee Affairs of the Republic of Ethiopia, the IGAD Executive Director, Dr. Wokne Gabayenu, the UNHCR representative present, the representative of the European Union, the representative of the refugees, and my learned friend, Monica Malit. I'm sure we share an alma mater at the University of Nairobi. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. Karibuni Nairobi. Karibu Nairobi, welcome home. I'm pleased to join you today for this important stock-taking meeting on the Nairobi Declaration on Durable Solutions for Refugees and the Global Compact on Refugees. Allow me to begin by expressing my sincere appreciation to the IGAD for convening us and for its continuous leadership in advancing the refugee agenda across our region. I also wish to acknowledge all member states partners, and stakeholders represented here today for your steadfast commitment to our region's shared priorities and to the pursuit of sustainable solutions for refugees and host communities. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, we convene at a time when global displacement has reached levels never seen before, with more than 112 million people now forcibly displaced worldwide, about 6 million of whom are in our region. Conflicts within and beyond our borders continue to generate new waves of displacement, while the impacts of climate change further aggravate the situation. These pressures come as economic shocks have strained national capacities, and host communities continue to shoulder immense responsibilities. The speed and the scale of forced displacement are outpacing the solutions that are available, leaving many displaced populations in a prolonged state of limbo with limited opportunities to rebuild their lives. As we reflect on our collective journey, it's important to recall the New York Declaration, later enforced by the Global Compact on Refugee in 2018, that laid out 4 core objectives to guide the international community. These objectives are to ease pressure on host countries, to enhance refugee self-reliance, which has really been emphasized here, and to expand access to third country solutions, and to support conditions in countries of origin to enable safe and dignified return. And you saw the representative of Refugee Affairs also emphasized this very important point. So these objectives remain as relevant today as they were 7 years ago, and continue to provide a strong basis for coordinated regional and global action. 7 years after the adoption of the GCR, we must be candid with one another. The challenges before us remain substantial. The world is changing rapidly, and our collective response must evolve at the same time. Refugee hosting areas across the IGAD region continue to grapple with rapid population growth, environmental degradation, and overstretched social services, factors that worsen living conditions for both the refugees and host communities. The debate we actually face here in Kenya usually is whether it is the refugees who are feeling the impact of these changes, or is the local community. So there is always, a pull and push whether the refugees are living better life or the local community, because the pressures of life, population, environmental degradation, access to services, climate change, and some of these conditions make the situation difficult for both the hosting communities, particularly the local hosting community, not just the country, and the refugees. At the same time, funding cuts to refugees operations have reached levels never seen before, leaving host countries in an increasingly precarious positions and threatening the progress made in previous years. You will also agree with me that the inward-looking nature of countries that ordinarily and traditionally support refugees, and the fact that we are seeing a backslide of countries from multilateralism to nationalism has really made many of these countries that have been supporting refugees to focus more on their local priorities, local funding, their local security, and many other issues, leaving us vulnerable. And that's why when the representative of Refugee Affairs spoke, I think that is the crux of the matter. For how long shall we be discussing the management of the problem? And when are we going to address the source of this problem? And when can we really purely say that a refugee can go home? Can we make the conditions for them, conducive to go home. So as a region, we cannot close our eyes on these issues. And through the IGAD support platform, we have made, of course, significant progress, particularly through thematic declarations aimed at promoting sustainable and durable solutions for refugees that we host. Notably, the Nairobi Declaration on Durable Solutions for Somali Refugees of 2017 endorsed the IGAD's Head of State Summit, endorsed at the IGAD Head of State Summit, the Djibouti Declaration on Refugee Education, and the Mombasa Declaration on Health are extremely important. These commitments embody the principles of protection and inclusion, support for sustainable return and reintegration in countries of origin, and burden and responsibility sharing across member states. As we meet today to take stock, it is essential that we honestly assess whether we are truly meeting the ambitious objectives we set for ourselves. Honorable Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, Kenya experiences in hosting refugees for more than 3 decades, now standing over 860,000 individuals, and together with the experience of your respective countries, offer valuable lessons for the global community. Our refugee hosting countries illustrate how fragile existence intersect with rapid urbanization, climate stress, and increasing pressure on the limited resources. These realities require not only humanitarian interventions, but long-term development-oriented solutions rooted in integrated urban planning, strong national systems, and robust cooperation between national and county or local governments. I just want to say that, even as we talk about integrating refugees and, saying for 35 years they have been in Kenya, this home and so forth, there are children who are born here who call Kenya home, except for the absence of documentation. The rest, they have no connection except through their parents to the countries they came from. And sometimes when you think about it, that you are telling that person there is somewhere else you need to go, and this is not home, it's extremely difficult. And that's why we need to go to the core issues of are we really Africa? Are we one country, one continent, one people? Do we really subscribe to these geographical boundaries to the extent that we cannot take care of the people born and brought up in our own countries as brothers and sisters? And so the thinking has to shift, because even as we keep focusing on, saying, repatriation to other countries, those other countries are like our countries. If we can make the conditions better here, those people who are born here, who call here home, should find ways of getting reintegrated. I know this is an extremely controversial political decision. The only reason why host communities, sometimes the citizens of those countries feel uncomfortable to integrate fully refugees is because of competition for scarce resources. So if we succeed to develop our own countries to the level of those countries we are saying we want to take our citizens, our African brothers and sisters, to go and be reintegrated in those countries, if we develop our countries to first world countries, then there will be no need for us to say people have to go to another place. The economy can be able to host those who are here. The second thing I keep thinking is that there is no way Kenya, for example, can say they can prosper on their own. The more you prosper on your own, the more you attract problems to yourself, because then you have to shoulder greater burden. So it's important for us to take seriously other development agendas, whether it is trade, whether it is infrastructure, whether it is integration as a region and as a continent, so that we have shared prosperity and we can reduce pressure for citizens moving from one part to the other, looking for better life. So now more than ever, as funding constraints affect refugee operations, there is an urgent need to embrace innovative and collaborative approaches across humanitarian development, peace, nexus. This includes aligning policy framework, harmonizing planning between national systems and humanitarian actors, and ensuring that interventions build resilience rather than perpetuate dependency. And I'll be mentioning later when we make national statements on the progress we have made in terms of this sector. So strengthening these linkages is essential to create sustainable pathways for refugees and host communities alike. At the second Global Refugee Forum in 2023, we collectively made a number of pledges aimed at advancing the objectives of Global Compact on the refugees. For Kenya, our principal pledge was through participation in the multi-stakeholder pledge to invest in climate-resilient human settlement. We committed to developing and rolling out the Shirika Plan for refugee and host communities. The plan, launched in March 2025, aligns with Kenya's Refugees Act of 2021 on inclusion and seeks to promote socio-economic empowerment and self-reliance for both refugees and host communities. It also paves the way for the transformation of refugee camps into integrated and sustainable settlements. Central to this agenda is the principle of cooperation and equitable burden and responsibility sharing. Progressive policies and initiatives such as Shirika Plan are at risk if the burden continues to fall disappropriately on host countries. The future of our children, who constitute the largest proportion of the displaced population, is jeopardized if the international community does not act with urgency and purpose. This is why we need the unified IGAD position. As I conclude, I urge all of us to re-examine the objectives of the Global Compact on refugees to ensure that they continue to serve the intended purpose. Let us also take a critical look at the thematic declaration under IGAD and determine how we can strengthen their implementation for greater impact. Finally, I wish to reaffirm Kenya's commitment to fostering sustainable and inclusive solutions that place host communities at the center of development as stipulated in our Shirika Plan. This plan reflects Kenya's belief that refugees should not merely be recipients of assistance, but they are contributors to national and regional development. I wanted to ask Malik, do you practice law here? Okay, very good. So you see, it would be great to see that refugees contribute actively to national development. I keep thinking, you know, when America, for example, Canada, America, Australia, Europe, European countries, when they come taking some of our refugees who have good education or potential or skills, and they take them to their countries, they are headhunting them for purpose of their national development. It's not enough that they are being taken to other countries, but they are contributing to national development. Some of them to sports, some of them to art, some of them to, very strong areas. Why should Kenya lock refugees in a camp who are educated, skilled, have the capacity to contribute to growth, and in the process, as they do so, they are able to fend for themselves and contribute to their personal growth. So indeed, Shirika Plan is a great plan, is a really great plan, and I believe that we should be able to help each one of us to be active contributors to our regional development. Kenya stands ready to continue working with IGAD member states and all stakeholders to advance this shared agenda and ensure that no refugee and no host community is left behind. However, the success of such initiatives depend on predictable, sustainable, and well-coordinated support from the international community. As we move forward, I urge all partners to intensify their support in strengthening national systems in education, health, water, infrastructure, and livelihood by providing predictable development financing to sustain long-term refugee inclusion. And I'm very happy with the testimony that comes from Uganda that the World Bank is doing something to support financing education sector. Supporting climate resilient interventions that address the linkage between climate change and displacement, enhancing regional coordination and mobility returns and durable solutions, and enabling voluntary, safe and dignified repatriation where conditions allow. The government of Kenya remains committed to expanding the protection space, even as we call upon our partners to reciprocate through genuine burden sharing, not burden shifting. I look forward to the rich insight and actionable solutions that will emerge from our discussions today. And as we take stock of our progress, let us renew our collective commitment to protecting refugees, supporting host communities, and advancing durable solutions across our region. The challenges before us are complex, but with unity of purpose, sustained collaborations, and strengthened regional mechanisms under IGAD leadership, we can deliver meaningful and lasting change. With all those many remarks, honorable ministers, ladies and gentlemen, I hereby declare the ministerial stock-taking session on the Global Compact on Refugee officially opened. Asante.
Excellency, our guest of honor, Honorable Minister, we are very grateful that you're here with us, and thank you so much for those very insightful remarks, and also the commitment of the government of Kenya to be the home for all of us, all the time, historically up to now, but also the commitment of the government of Kenya to work with the member states in the region towards durable solutions. Honorable Minister, there are two things, or three. One is, we would like to present the rest of the agenda to the IGAD chair for adoption. The IGAD Secretariat has presented a session for all the member states to present ministerial updates on the country's progress on the implementation of the Nairobi process. Honorable Minister, all IGAD member states are represented here, and those statements will be made in alphabetical order. Honorable Minister, also with the leadership of the Executive Secretary and the team of experts of IGAD Secretariat, and informed deeply by the last 2 days of consultations of experts of IGAD member states and partners, including refugees, civil society, private sector, and academia, we've prepared a communiqué, Honorable Minister. So we seek for your guidance, first with the IGAD chair on the adoption of the agenda, and then secondly on the communiqué. We are ready to hear your guidance.
Je dirais donc merci à la maître de cérémonie. Et donc, comme elle l'a bien dit, la question est effectivement, nous allons donc passer, donc d'abord, on va demander au secrétariat donc, de l'IGAD si il y a eu donc élection du bureau. Bureau.
I beg your pardon, Honorable Excellence. Republic of Djibouti, I was called for consultation. Is the agenda now adopted?
Exact. C'est la question qu'on va poser effectivement à l'audience. Vous avez donc l'ordre du jour devant vous et je voudrais effectivement que vous nous disiez s'il y a un point à ajouter ou si on doit l'adopter lors du jour tel qu'il est. Bien, merci. Je pense que comme il y a donc le silence, je pense que tout le monde est d'accord. L'ordre du jour donc est adopté.
Thank you, Excellency. IGAD Chair, Republic of Djibouti. Our agenda is adopted. Now I would like to request the Honorable Ministers of all IGAD member states to join the Honorable Ministers at the high table for a family photo of ministers. Please come forward. I would like to request Bob and the media team to very quickly take that family photo of ministers. After the family photo, I'll request all the high table dignitaries to join the plenary high table so that we can go to the next session. Excellencies, thank you very much for the opening ceremony. Thank you for your guidance, for your deliberations. I would like to request you to take your seats at the plenary side. And indeed, I would like please take your seats. Honorable Ministers, for the last 2 days, we have been led by a top-notch expert of IGAD Secretariat, Charles Obila, who is a specialist on the platform, IGAD support platform, the Global Compact on Migration. He's a migration governance specialist at the IGAD Secretariat. And now Charles has a short video for you, Excellencies. It's a 3-minute video. After this, I would like to say thank you very much. My role ends here. I hand over to His Excellency, the Executive Secretary. Thank you.
First, I wish to welcome all of you to the 2025 Ministerial Stocktake meeting on the IGAD support platform. We have witnessed an increased number of actors and initiatives for addressing forced displacement in our regions.
As we gather today, we are reminded that the challenges facing our region remain complex, evolving, and deeply interconnected.
Cette réunion ministérielle stratégique, elle nous offre l'occasion des mondiales sur les réfugiés.
To the societies and communities within which they are. The government of Ethiopia is also keen to bring about private sectors in the refugee hosting areas, and not only on that, but also private sectors contribute for the creation of job and livelihood and other opportunity for the refugee.
We have integrated refugees in our healthcare services. Right now, if you go to SHA portal, refugees in Kenya can comfortably register under SHA.
On a une loi nationale sur les réfugiés qui constitue l'un des cadres juridiques les plus avancés de la région. Parce que la loi garantit un environnement de protection favorable aux réfugiés, leur permettant aussi de jouir des droits fondamentaux, notamment l'intégration socio-économique et l'accès aux services vitaux tels que l'éducation, la santé, l'emploi, la libre circulation et la naturalisation.
Uganda has developed a national self-reliance measurement index, and it will be launched on 27th of this month. That means that we'll be able to tell who is a self-reliant refugee and who is not.
In November 2024, we had the Refugees and Asylum Seekers Law that was signed by the President of the Parliament, which provides a lot of provisions when it comes to protection and finding solutions for refugees.
We have now acceded to 1954 Convention and 1961 to address the issue of statelessness. And then there is an issue of giving out the nationality cards, and then also making sure that there is documentation for all the populations, the returnees, including the refugees.
What we propose for the next is that we treat several crises by adopting a region-wide approach. Because, I mean, many of your countries are experiencing the same issues, so we feel like we need to broaden a bit the scope of our support.
It's always very amazing to really visit the spaces where refugees are hosted and to see the actual integration. Some of it actually happen in the absence of policies, but through innovation and the political will, particularly of the local leaders, it also shapes the policy discussions within the region.
Bien, nous allons passer donc à la suite de l'agenda et donc passer en revue l'ensemble donc des progrès des différents pays dans la mise en œuvre donc du processus de Nairobi. Je voudrais donc appeler ici l'Ouganda, le représentant donc le ministre donc de l'Ouganda, pour nous parler effectivement donc nous dire les progrès qui ont été accomplis au niveau donc de ce processus de Nairobi. Ouganda.
Thank you, Chair, Your Excellencies, the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Your Excellency, the guest of honor and host, Excellencies, colleague ministers, international partners, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor to address this esteemed gathering of the IGAD stock-taking meeting in this beautiful city of Nairobi. Today we come together to reaffirm our collective regional commitment to the Nairobi Declaration and Global Compact for Refugees pledges, from admission rights to local integration and fostering durable solutions to refugees, building resilient refugee communities, and a call to our shared responsibilities under international refugee and human rights frameworks. I want to thank the IGAD leadership and the member states for their commitment to the Nairobi Declaration since its adoption in March 2017 by our heads of states, and continuing the pursuit of durable solutions in the region and its alignment with the Global Compact for Refugees. Your leadership in this area remains key and relevant to foster the objectives of the organization. I'd like to highlight the global alignment with the Global Compact on Refugees and IGAD's role as a regional leader, to which we are part as Uganda. Since 2017, as IGAD member states, we have advanced a whole of society approach to address forced displacement and mixed migration. The Nairobi Declaration and its thematic plans of action, namely education, health, livelihoods, self-reliance, have operationalized commitments to integrate refugees and host communities into national systems. Key milestones include the IGAD Policy Framework on Refugee Protection 2023, Regional Pledges of GRF 2023, and the launch of the IGAD Refugee Engagement Forum 2024. Uganda, as you are aware, hosts the highest number of refugees in the region with 1.96 million refugees, and we will likely have 2 million refugees by end of the year, given the annual trends and forced displacement dynamics in the region. As we continue our collective efforts to address the complex challenges facing displaced populations, I'd like to emphasize key areas requiring your concerted support and strategic action. Number one, enhance support for voluntary returns through prioritization and streamlining processes that facilitate safe, dignified, and voluntary return for refugees and internally displaced persons. And this requires A, allocation of resources to expand reintegration programs and community stabilization initiatives in countries of origin and return areas. B, strengthen coordination among humanitarian, development, and peace actors to ensure returns are sustainable and aligned with local recovery. F, building support. C, building support. C, promoting innovative financing instruments that incentivize and de-risk private sector engagement and investment in solutions for displacement-related challenges. We urge your continued support to mobilize resources, strengthen partnerships, and implement policies that uphold the dignity and rights of displaced populations while promoting stability and resilience in affected regions. Reaffirming our commitment, I reaffirm Uganda's commitment to working closely with IGAD member states, international partners, and the broader global community to turn these commitments into meaningful actions for economic and social inclusion and climate resilience. Uganda remains steadfast in its dedication to support the global refugee response agenda. We reaffirm our unwavering commitment to implement the objectives of the Global Compact on Refugees, emphasizing inclusion, self-reliance, and durable solutions for those fleeing conflict and persecution, and look forward to the outcome document of this meeting. Additionally, I do reaffirm our enduring commitment to the pledges made during the 2023 Global Refugee Forum, aiming to enhance the following. 1, resilience and self-reliance of refugees. 2, transition and integration of services management. 3, localization of the refugee response. 4, addressing climate and environment challenges. And 5, promoting durable solutions. And within that, importantly, to promote voluntary return of refugees to their home countries. Our collective efforts are vital in building resilient communities that can sustainably support their populations, whether they are locals or newcomers. We recognize that successful support to hosting refugees depends on strong partnerships, resource mobilization, and innovative approaches tailored to our regional contexts. I want to conclude with a message of hope that it is possible for forcibly displaced persons not only to have critical support, but to become empowered to rebuild their lives and contribute positively to our shared prosperity. I also share the sentiments of the representative of refugees to the extent that addressing the causal aspects of forced displacements plus deliberate measures of return and integration are more effective and critical, and even ultimately offset the need or idea of having permanent representation of refugees within the structures of IGAD. Last, I thank the message from the World Bank for the pledged support, which goes some way in easing the pressure of heavy lifting that we bear as a refugee hosting country. I thank you for your kind attention.
Nous remercions donc His Excellency Mr. David Mohozi pour ce discours vraiment qui a tout brossé et donc nous a permis de connaître l'ensemble des progrès qui ont été accomplis. Et nous le remercions donc de tenir effectivement et d'être solidaire avec l'agenda donc et également aussi de tenir compte des objectifs futurs pour pouvoir à ce que les réfugiés puissent avoir qu'il y ait moins de pression dessus. Je voudrais maintenant passer donc la parole à His Excellency Mr. Albino Akol Atak, Ministre of South Sudan, pour donc également aussi nous faire part des progrès qui ont été accomplis au niveau de son pays. Merci.
Thank you, representative of Chair of IGAD, Executive Secretary, my colleague ministers, representative of all the partners, UNHCR and others, developmental partners, the donor community, civil society, the private sector. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin on behalf of the government of the Republic of South Sudan and the people by expressing our deep appreciation to IGAD for convening this important ministerial stock-taking meeting. We also extend sincere gratitude to the government and the people of the Republic of Kenya for their warm hospitality and continued commitment to supporting displaced populations across the region. Our thanks equally go to UNHCR, donors and partners whose sustained engagement remains vital to protection and solution efforts. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this meeting comes at a crucial moment. Our region faces escalating displacement driven by conflict, particularly the ongoing crisis in the Republic of Sudan, alongside climate shocks and diminishing humanitarian resources. Despite these challenges, our shared resolve remains unwavering. Today's meeting provides an opportunity to reflect, recalibrate, and jointly reinforce our commitment to responsibility sharing, inclusion, and regional solidarity. As we prepare to consider and endorse the final communique that our experts participated in, I wish to reaffirm South Sudan's full support for its priorities and direction. The communique builds on the Nairobi Declaration and its plan of action, the thematic declarations in Djibouti, Kampala, and Mombasa, and our collective pledges under Global Refugees Forum. It charts practical paths to strengthen national system, advance self-reliance, promote climate-responsive programming, and ensure the meaningful participation of refugees, IDPs, returnees, stateless persons, and the host communities. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, South Sudan remains firmly committed to these shared aspirations. Our durable solution and plan of action is driving national ownership of our 2023 GRF pledges. We continue to make progress on legal reforms, inclusion in livelihoods, and civil documentation. And as we speak, more than 600,000 people are being hosted by the Republic of South Sudan as refugees, and they have been actually facilitated for all what I have just mentioned. For instance, more than 80 professors has been actually observed into our national learning institution. More than 50 medical personnel from refugees has already been given the opportunity to have their own private hospitals. Lands for agriculture has been provided for the refugees for them to also see their livelihood, and licensing for the businesses has also been offered. Our accession to the 1954 and 1961 Statelessness Convention underscores our commitment to safeguarding the most vulnerable. Nevertheless, increasing spontaneous returns, deep economic pressures, and severe reduction in humanitarian funding or financing continue to strain our national capacity. I was very happy to hear that the refugees are willing to go back to South Sudan. And of course, as the government, we respect the will of refugees for them to go back. And that we have taken note and serious note for us to work on that. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to complement the communique, the Republic of South Sudan recommends the following regional priorities for collective advancement. Because in these meetings, as IGAD members state, we're supposed to talk about solution, concrete step that will allow us to put an end to this situation of refugees in our region. And as it was said by the refugees representative, what we need is not only to manage the status of refugees in the region, but to get the solution of the root causes. So we are actually proposing the following. One, a regional compact for predictable financing, because we have been talking about cut in finance, and we should not even continue talking about cut in finance or resources, because this is a reality. We should go ahead, look for a solution. an IGAD-led mechanism to stabilize essential services, cushion funding cuts, and enable longer-term solution. Number two, cross-border development and regional and reintegration corridors, joint socio-economic and infrastructural investment in border regions hosting displaced population. Number three, regional climate resilient package, targeted adaptation financing for displacement affected hotspots, including key return and refugees hosting areas. Number four, a joint multi-hazard early warning and rapid response system, strengthening IGAD's ability to anticipate, monitor, and respond to emerging crises, especially the evolving situation in Sudan. Five, mutual recognition of skills and qualifications across the IGAD, allowing displaced professionals to contribute meaningfully throughout the region, enhancing services and social cohesion. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, before concluding, I wish to commend the experts who have worked tirelessly over the last 2 days to produce a comprehensive and forward-looking communique. Their technical expertise and dedication reflects the spirit of cooperation that defines IGAD's work. I hereby confirm that the Republic of South Sudan fully endorses the recommendations of the expert meetings as captured in the communique. The Republic of South Sudan will remain at the forefront of implementing this declaration, working closely with the IGAD member states, UNHCR, donors, and other stakeholders to translate these commitments into concrete action. With unity, solidarity, and innovation, we can transform challenges into opportunities and advance a future of stability, resilience, and shared responsibility for our region. I thank you.
Merci et félicitations donc His Excellency Mr. Albino Akol Atak du South Sudan. Donc félicitations encore parce que l'intégration effective donc des personnes, et ça avec les chiffres, 80 professeurs qui sont devenus donc qui travaillent dans les systèmes d'enseignement, des médecins au niveau donc de la 50 donc médecins qui ont des cabinets privés. Et nous vous félicitons également aussi pour l'ensemble des recommandations qui vont nous permettre de s'attaquer aux causes profondes. Permettez-moi maintenant d'appeler donc, de donner donc le micro au ministre de l'Intérieur, M. Ali Youssouf, de la Somalie.
Thank you, Chair IGAD, Minister Said. I will make my remarks in Somali language. qabanqaabayaasha shirka dowladda walaalaha nahay Kenya iyo wasiirkeeda Kichunga xogayaha fulinta IGAD wasiirada kulleegayga saaxiibada nahay xubnaha diblomaasiyiinta ergada ka socota qaramada midoobay marti sharafta mudanayaal iyo marwooyin iga guddooma salaam qiimo badan sharaf weyn ayay tahay ka soo qaybgalka shirkan iyo inaan maanta idiin soo bandhigo xaaladda aragtida Soomaaliya waxaan mahadcelin iyo bogaadin u jeedinayaa IGAD dowladda Kenya xubnaha kooxda hogaaminta core group iyo dhammaan saaxiibada iyo daneeyayaasha maanta halkan iskugu yimid dadaalkooda joogtada ah iyo hogaamintooda ku aadan iskaashiga gobolka iyo barakacaya xalka waara ee la xiriira arrimaha qaxootiga iyo barakacayaasha Soomaaliya waxay weli wajahaysaa mid ka mid ah xaaladaha barakaca gudaha ee ugu adag dalalka IGAD. waxaa hadda sugan in ka badan 4 milyan iyo 100 oo barakacayaal gudaha ah IDPs kuwaas oo ay sabab u yihiin colaadaha, saamaynta isbeddelka cimilada iyo dhibaatooyinka bini'aadanimo oo soo jeetamay muddo dheer. dhanka kalena dalka wuxuu dib u soo dhaweeyay in ka badan 243,000 oo muwaadiniin Soomaaliyeed oo dib ugu soo laabtay tan iyo sanadkii 2014. sidoo kale Soomaaliya waxay martigelisay in ka badan 45,000 oo qaxooti iyo dad magangelyo doon ah oo ka yimid dalalka Yemen, Suuriya, Suudaan iyo dalal kale. inkastoo ay jiraan caqabado, haddana Soomaaliya waxaa si buuxda uga go'an hirgelinta mabaadi'da iyo himilooyinka baaqa Nairobi sanadihii la soo dhaafay. waxaan si joogto ah uga shaqayn doonaa in ballanqaadyadaas loo bedelo xalal wax ku ool ah oo kor u qaada nolosha qaxootiga, barakacayaasha, dadka soo laabanaya iyo bulshada gudaha. waxaan ku faraxsanahay in aan idiin xaqiijino in horumar muuqda la sameeyay. Soomaaliya waxay qaaday tallaabooyin waaweyn oo lagu xoojinayo xiisadaha iyo xeerarka qaran. xeerarka la sameeyay waxaa ka mid ah ansixinta sharciga qaxootiga iyo magangelyo doonka bishii Sebtembar 2023 iyo sharciga barakacayaasha gudaha IDPs bill oo isna la meel mariyay bishan, taas oo nidaamkeena qaran u dhaweysay heerarka caalamiga ah iyo kuwa gobolka. dhanka kale dadaalada dib u dejinta ayaa noqday kuwa ay hormuud ka yihiin qaybaha bulshada, iyadoo la hubinayo in muwaadiniinta soo laabanaya aan keliya la soo dhaweyn balse sidoo kale laga taageero sidii ay nolol wanaagsan ay u samaysan lahaayeen kadib soo guryo noqoshadooda. iskaashiga dowladaha Soomaaliya iyo IGAD, UNHCR, IOM, Bangiga Adduunka, Midowga Yurub, Jarmalka iyo saaxiibo kale waxa ay xoojisay ilaalinta, gaarsiinta adeegyada iyo adkeysiga deegaanada ay ku sameeyeen barakacidda bulshadu. mudanayaal iyo marwooyin, waa inaan isla qirno caqabadaha weli taagan ee hor ka istaagaya hirgelinta xalalka waara. xaaladaha amni ee gudaha dalka ee deegaanada qaarkood ayaa adkeynaya in la xaqiijiyo ikhtiyaarkii ahaa ammaanku lahaa. kaabayaasha muhiimka ah sida waxbarashada, caafimaadka, biyaha, tamarta iyo gaadiidka ayaa weli culays ka jira. saamaynta isbeddelka cimiladu waxay sanad kasta barakicisaa kumanaan qoys, taas oo cadaadis weyn ku keenaya awoodda isdifaaca iyo adkeysiga bulshooyinka. sidoo kale inkastoo ay muhiim u tahay amniga qaranka iyo kan gobolka, haddana howlgallada lagula dagaalamayo argagixisada waxay marar qaar sababi karaan barakac cusub, waxayna u baahnaan doonaan taageero dheeraad ah oo bini'aadanimo iyo mid xasilin stabilization si looga howlgalo caqabadahaas. Soomaaliya waxay ku baaqaysaa maalgelin horumarineed oo la isku halayn karo iyo iskaashi goboleed oo xooggan, gaar ahaan dalalka dariska ah, iyo taageero ballaaran loo fidiyo barnaamijyada la qabsiga isbeddelka cimilada, kuwaas oo si toos ah u taabanaya dadka barakacay iyo kuwa soo guryo noqonaya. gabagabadii, Soomaaliya waxay markale xaqiijinaysaa sida ay weli uga go'an tahay baaqa Nairobi, heshiiska caalamiga ah ee qaxootiga iyo madasha taageerada ee IGAD. Waxaan diyaar u nahay in aan si dhow ula shaqeyno dhammaan dalalka xubnaha ka ah IGAD iyo saaxiibada kale si aan u horumarino arrimaha kale ah xoojinta xasilloonida gobolka, kor u qaadidda ilaalinta barakacayaasha iyo qaxootiga iyo hirgelinta xalka waara ee loogu talagalay bulshooyinka barakacu saameeyay. Marka la isla qaato mas'uuliyad wadareed lana isgarab istaago isla markaana maalgelin waxaan dhisi karnaa mustaqbal amni iyo rajo leh oo ku wanaagsan bulshooyinka gobolka. Waxaan la qaybsanaynaa kana xunnahay dowladda Suudaan iyo caqabadaha hortaagan. aad iyo aad baa mahadsantihiin. Thank you very much.
Merci, donc Excellence, Mr. Ali Youssouf Ali. Vraiment, vous avez donc la Somalie, malgré donc une situation difficile au niveau donc vous avez quand même au niveau des réfugiés, vous restez solidaire avec la déclaration de Nairobi. Malgré 4 millions, plus de 4 millions de déplacés internes. Nous vous félicitons pour le fait que vous avez réussi à réintégrer plus de 240 000 Somaliens dans leur propre pays. Vraiment, donc nous vous félicitons et nous sommes effectivement l'IGAD ainsi que les partenaires donc seront à vos côtés pour combler le manque au niveau donc et l'appui qu'il faudra pour renforcer les services de base ainsi que les problèmes causés par les changements climatiques. Merci encore à la Somalie. Et je voudrais maintenant donner la parole aux représentants du Kenya.
Thank you very much, Chair. The statement I'm going to make is just building on what already I had made earlier. I'm trying to find ways of saving time for all of us so that I don't become repetitive. First of all, let me say that once again, on behalf of the Republic of Kenya, it's my pleasure to participate in this important Ministerial stock-taking meeting on the National Declaration on the 2018 Global Compact Refugees. We appreciate all the stakeholders, IGAD and all the stakeholders, and that the Nairobi Declaration, commonly known as the Nairobi Process and its accompanying action plan, came at a crucial moment following the New York Declaration. It remains a landmark regional commitment to pursue comprehensive, sustainable and coordinated solutions for internally displaced persons, refugees, returnees, and host communities. We also recognize the value of the thematic declaration covering education, health, jobs, and livelihoods and durable solutions. Under the Nairobi process, we made various commitments to strengthen these areas of commitment. And Kenya made specific pledges, and I'd like to report the progress we have made so far. Allow me to highlight these measures of the progress we've made. The first is on the legal and policy reforms. Through the Refugee Act of 2021, Kenya has advanced the self-reliance and socio-economic inclusion in line with the Kampala Declaration on Jobs and Livelihoods. We continue to reinforce legal and administrative systems that enhance access to registration and documentation. The Refugee ID has been upgraded to a digital ID with over 400,000 refugees linked to the Integrated Population Registration System of Kenya. Number 2 is on skills and livelihoods. To promote employability, Kenya has rolled out recognition of prior learning, enabling the assessment and certification of refugee skills. Refugees are increasingly accessing work and business permits, and more than 100 community-based organizations have been registered, enhancing localization of community leadership. On financial inclusion, the SIM card subscriber registration regulations now recognize the refugee ID as a Know Your Customer document. This has enabled refugees to register SIM cards and access mobile money services, an important step in transitioning from humanitarian dependency to resilience. Many refugees were struggling to transact, and Kenya is largely a mobile banking country, and this is the latest area of progress, and we are now currently rolling out this SIM card registration for refugees for purpose of mobile money, banking, and mobile banking. In line with the 2017 Djibouti Declaration, refugees, now that's the fourth, which is education. In line with the 2017 Djibouti Declaration, refugees access education from basic to tertiary levels under Kenya's competence-based curriculum. Through the window for host communities and refugees, under the Kenya Primary Education Equity in Learning Program, teacher support has been strengthened and school improvement plans are implemented. Over 121,504 learners in camp-based schools have benefited from school meals, while both refugee and host communities learners receive Elimu scholarships. Number 5 is on health. Kenya continues to expand access to universal health coverage in line with the 2022 Mombasa Declaration on Refugee and Cross-Border Health. More than 100,000 refugees are now enrolled in the Kenya's revamped social health insurance fund. Number 6, documentation and protection. Kenya has gazetted key refugee documents to access public and private sector service and enhance registration and refugee status determination process to ensure timely access to critical documentation. Number 7 is durable solutions. In line with the 1951 Convention on the 2019 and the 2019 Munyonyo Declaration, Kenya continues to pursue resettlement through spaces. Those spaces remain limited while expanding complementary pathways including labor, mobility, education, and sports. Number 8, regional peace and stability. In the spirit of the Nairobi process, Kenya has made significant contribution to peace efforts in Somalia, previously as an AMISOM troop contributing country, transitioning to ATMIS, and continues to support regional conflict resolution efforts. Honorable Ministers, in March 2025, Kenya launched the Shirika Plan, one of our main pledges at the 2023 Global Refugee Forum. Shirika Plan represents a transformative shift from encampment to inclusion and self-reliance. It provides a comprehensive framework for integrating refugees and host community into national systems, ensuring access to service such as education, health, water and sanitation, and livelihoods through government structures at both national and county levels. As part of this transition, Dadaab and Kakuma have been earmarked, chartered as municipalities under the Urban Support Program, paving the way for the enhanced infrastructure development in these areas. Despite these achievements, host countries, including Kenya, continue to face growing pressure that risk undermining progress towards Global Compact on refugees and IGAD commitments. The key challenges are sharp reduction in funding for refugee programs, increased earmarking for donor funding, security challenges, environmental degradation, continued large-scale influxes, and gaps between pledges and actual financing or implementation. Without meaningful burden and responsibility sharing, achieving the objectives of the GCR will be impossible. Recalling the 2016 New York Declaration, which laid the foundation for the 2018 Global Compact on Refugees. The 4 core objectives remain the relevant as then as today, and as I already listed in my earlier remarks, they are easing pressure on host countries, enhancing refugee reliance, self-reliance, expanding third country solutions, and supporting conditions for safe, dignified return by addressing the root causes. Durable solutions thus require sustained, predictable funding and investment. Even as the global community shift to humanitarian development forecast models, renewed commitment from donors and development partners is imperative. Partners remain critical. The Nairobi Declaration underscores that durable solutions in our region must be anchored in peace, stability, and development in countries of origin. Honorable Ministers, as we look ahead, Kenya calls on the international community to support the following priorities. 1, sustained development and gains through long-term predictable financing. 2, advancing economic inclusion and resilience for refugees and host communities. 3, ensuring host communities are central to programming, leaving no one behind. And 4, strengthening regional stability as the foundation for durable and sustainable solutions. We encourage all partners, traditional and non-traditional, and the private sector to work collaboratively with government to promote economic development in refugee hosting areas, thereby strengthening self-reliance and resilience. 7 years since adoption of GCR, our work remains unfinished. Kenya reaffirms its unwavering commitment to deeper regional cooperation to address and resolve protracted displacement. As we approach the Global Refugee Forum midterm review in December, we look forward to concrete shifts in approach and tangible programs on the pledges we made in 2023. In conclusion, let us collectively reaffirm our resolve to fully implement the Nairobi Declaration and its plan of action, and to continue championing dignity, self-reliance, and hope for the millions affected by displacement across our region. Asanteni.
Merci à l'honorable Kipchuma Murkomen pour l'ensemble donc des progrès accomplis par le Kenya. Nous avons donc, nous vous remercions donc de tenir effectivement, d'être en pleine donc harmonie avec la déclaration de Nairobi, ainsi que c'est donc les actions qu'elle préconise. Nous avons retenu beaucoup de choses, effectivement, que vous avez, parmi les progrès donc le Kenya a réalisé, et nous vous félicitons, aussi bien pour les organisations internationales, les organisations à base communautaire qui sont au nombre d'une centaine, le fait d'avoir mis à disposition des réfugiés les cartes SIM pour les monnaies mobiles, et pour qu'ils puissent accéder aux banques. Les progrès accomplis dans l'éducation, dans les écoles, les réfectoires, les bourses, les 100 000 personnes que vous avez donc inscrites en assurance sociale. Félicitations également aussi pour le plan Chirika qui appuie, donc qui va dans le sens de l'intégration et de l'inclusion. C'est extraordinaire, hein, les villages de réfugiés donc, qui sont aujourd'hui donc érigés en municipalité, et donc beaucoup d'autres progrès, et donc félicitations encore au Kenya, et on garde donc effectivement, comme tous les pays ont dit, l'espoir est là. Merci, et donc je passerai maintenant la parole à la République fédérale et démocratique d'Éthiopie, aux représentants donc de l'Éthiopie.
Excellency Dr. Workane Gabayo, Executive Secretary of IGAD, Honorable Onesmus Kipchuma, Kenyan Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and the National Administration, distinguished guests, excellencies from our donors and main partners, all protocol observed, good morning once again. Ethiopia remains firmly committed to the Nairobi Declaration, the action plan, the thematic areas for protection, education, jobs and livelihoods, health, and the broader objectives of the IGAD support platform. Our national approach continues to reflect the principles of solidarity, responsibility sharing, and inclusive development. We reaffirm that refugee protection is not only a humanitarian imperative, but also a development and peace-building priority for Ethiopia. Over the past years, Ethiopia has made major progress in operationalizing inclusion commitments across education, health, livelihoods, documentation, protection, and public service delivery. These achievements reflect strong government ownership, partnership with IGAD and other partners, alignment with the Global Compact on Refugees, and changing the policy-enabled environment to action and practice. When we see the progress in education and inclusion, education continues to be a pillar of Ethiopia's displacement response. The government has advanced refugee inclusion across all levels of the national education system. Through access to national system, a lot of progress has been recorded. Refugee children and adolescents are enrolled alongside Ethiopian students in public schools in hosting regions and urban areas. All secondary schools transferred to the Ministry of Education through Regional Education Bureau management. Refugee enrollment in secondary schools has increased despite the recent serious encounter on predictable funding that challenge the enrollment rate and the quality of secondary education. Public universities continue to admit refugees based on national standards with scholarship support modalities. Refugees have full access to public TVT institutions with competency-based training linked to local labor markets in hospitality, construction, manufacturing, agriculture, and digital services. Refugees are now integrated into the national TVT strategy as a part of Ethiopia's GRF pledge to expand skills development. Regional education bureaus, in partnership with my office, RRS, and development partners, have expanded classrooms and deployed additional teachers to reduce overcrowding, despite still there is a huge gap. Continuing provision of revised curriculum textbooks to refugee students, continuing provision of school grant budget for equipping the schools to facilitate the teaching learning process, maintaining classrooms and wash facilities, harmonization of services like updating trainings on teaching methodologies and life skill trainings to refugee school communities, and awareness raising trainings on the climate change and environmental protection to the refugee and host communities at schools. Second, on advancing health and social services, health inclusion has remained a core priority in the national and Nairobi process implementation. Refugees have full access to primary, secondary, and referral health services in public health facilities. Joint health committees at Warada level coordinate cost sharing, supply allocation, and referral pathways between RRs and the Ministry of Health structures. The government is gradually expanding the community-based health insurance CBHI scheme to refugee and refugee hosting communities by exploring future inclusion of urban refugees as a pilot. Refugees with chronic health conditions receive specialized care through national system with referral mechanisms. The third one is strengthening protection system. Protection remains the central pillar of Ethiopia's response and foundational element of the Nairobi process. Under registration and documentation, my country has been conducting a comprehensive registration, premise-based exercise issuing secure digital refugee IDs. Linkage of refugee IDs to the national FIDA system is ongoing, improving access to banking, SIM registration, and social services. The other one is child protection and gender-based violence response. Case management systems are strengthened through joint work with the Bureau of Women and Social Affairs, police commissions, and justice institutions. Safe houses, psychosocial support centers, and community-based protection networks are operating in major camps and urban areas. The other one, again, legal aid and civil documentation. Newborn refugee children receive birth certificates through the vital events registration services. Legal aid clinics in universities support refugees with RRS facilitation. The last one under this thematic is durable solutions and socio-economic inclusion. Inclusive and area-based development programs such as the RDIP, Phase 2, ERDIP, Prospectus, and Horizon strengthen infrastructure, skills, markets, and public services for both refugees and host communities. Work permits, bank accounts, and business licenses create a practical foundation for self-resilience. When we see the multi-stakeholder coordination and governance, Ethiopia's implementation of the Nairobi process is anchored in a whole of government approach led by Refugee and Return Service, a whole of society approach, engaging private sector, civil society, refugee-led organizations, phase-based groups, and development partners. Alignment with planning instruments such as the National 10-Year Development Plan and the draft marketed inclusion roadmap. The challenges requiring coordinated action. Despite all this progress, as a country, we are facing many challenges. Limited financing for infrastructure, expansion in education, health, and WASH in refugee hosting areas. Limited capacities of refugee hosting regions. Market and investment barriers in remote hosting regions. Skills mismatch between refugees and the labor market demands. Humanitarian funding declines, putting pressure on basic services and social cohesion. Unpredictable funding, short-term project-based financing hinders the long-term vision of inclusive development. Environmental degradation and climate shocks affecting displacement areas. These challenges underline the importance of predictable financing, regional harmonization, and a greater private sector participation. Ethiopia's call to partners in the region, the countries remains fully committed to the Nairobi Declaration and the regional displacement agenda. We call for strengthened multi-year development financing to support inclusion and resilience. Invest in integrated solutions that address displacement and development, regional harmonization of policies on work permits and recognition of skills. Investment in education, health, and urban systems to support both refugees and Ethiopian host communities for better self-reliance. Secure, predictable financing, push for long-term development funding frameworks aligned with national strategies and GRF commitments. Import partnerships with IGAD, national institutions, and global platforms to accelerate solutions. Greater private sector engagement to unlock economic opportunities aligned with national priorities. In conclusion, Ethiopia reiterates its strong political commitment to the Nairobi process. Through sustained regional cooperation and integration, shared responsibility, and development-driven approach, we can transform the refugee response into a platform for stability, prosperity, and resilience for all communities across our region. Ethiopia Hands for Humanity. I thank you very much.
Merci à Madame Taïba Hassan, directrice en charge des réfugiés en République fédérale démocratique d'Éthiopie. À l'instar donc des autres pays de l'IGAD, là aussi des progrès ont été accomplis et on retient le slogan, ce sont les engagements qui ont été mis en action. Donc, et aussi bien dans l'éducation, dans la santé, au niveau donc du renforcement des compétences des élèves, donc des enfants réfugiés, au niveau de la formation professionnelle, même pour les achats de leur équipement, le renforcement donc de la prise en charge sanitaire des réfugiés ou qui se soignent au même titre que les donc nationaux avec un mécanisme de référencement. Là aussi, pareil pour la facilitation pour donc l'accession au financement mobile et donc l'octroi de cartes SIM, les permis de travail pour qu'elle aille travailler pour créer des entreprises. Et bien sûr également aussi, tout ceci est intégré dans le plan national de développement donc, au niveau de l'Éthiopie. Bravo donc à l'Éthiopie. Les difficultés, donc, ils sont les mêmes pour tous les pays effectivement. Et là, il y a les financements limités pour l'expansion des infrastructures. Il faut adapter les compétences donc, des élèves réfugiés au niveau du marché du travail. Et donc, les recommandations sont également seront prises en compte. Et ce qu'on retient ici, c'est que l'Éthiopie renouvelle son engagement par rapport donc à la déclaration de Nairobi. Bravo donc à l'Éthiopie. Et maintenant, je vais changer de casquette et je vais maintenant lire les progrès qui ont été accomplis au niveau de Djibouti et je redeviens le ministre de l'Intérieur donc de la République de Djibouti. Je quitte mon stade. Voilà. Honorable donc présent ici, tout protocole observé. Permettez-moi donc à mon tour de vous présenter les progrès qui ont été accomplis également aussi par la République de Djibouti. Conformément donc à l'exposé ces derniers jours par nos experts, j'ai l'honneur, au nom de la République de Djibouti, de faire état des progrès substantiels enregistrés dans la mise en œuvre des engagements régionaux découlant de la déclaration de Nairobi, de la déclaration de Djibouti sur l'éducation des réfugiés, de la déclaration de Kampala sur l'autonomisation économique, ainsi que la déclaration de Mombasa relative à l'inclusion sanitaire. Je souhaite également attirer l'attention sur les défis majeurs auxquels notre région est aujourd'hui confrontée, en particulier la crise de financement qui frappe durement l'UNHCR et l'ensemble des opérations. Cette situation appelle des réponses. Rappelez que la République de Djibouti a réalisé des avancées significatives. L'adoption de la loi nationale sur les réfugiés, accompagnée de ces 2 décrets d'application, constitue aujourd'hui un cadre juridique généreux, progressiste et inclusif, et tout cela conçu pour créer un environnement favorable à la protection des réfugiés qui jouissent aujourd'hui des mêmes droits fondamentaux que les nationaux. C'est un acquis dont nous sommes particulièrement fiers. Quant à l'éducation, depuis l'adoption de la déclaration de Djibouti, la République de Djibouti a intensifié l'intégration des enfants réfugiés dans les écoles publiques, l'harmonisation des curricula pour une meilleure continuité pédagogique, Elle a également renforcé les capacités des enseignants pour assurer un accueil approprié aux enfants donc des réfugiés. Nous pouvons aujourd'hui nous réjouir d'études supérieures à l'étranger. Quant à l'emploi et à l'autonomisation coopérative, et qui développent ensemble des commerces et réalisent même des importations depuis Dubaï ou la Chine. Et donc ces groupes même possèdent des comptes bancaires dans les caisses donc populaires d'épargne et de crédit. Grâce au cadre légal inclusif, la carte de réfugié équivaut aujourd'hui à un permis de travail et des centaines de réfugiés détiennent aujourd'hui leur propre patente commerciale, contribuant ainsi directement à l'économie nationale. En matière de santé, et conformément à la déclaration de Mombasa, les réfugiés ont accès à l'ensemble du système national de santé, du niveau 1 jusqu'au niveau 3. Un système de référencement est opérationnel pour assurer la continuité des soins secondaires et tertiaires. Et cela, malgré le coût particulièrement élevé de la prise en charge des maladies chroniques. Les enfants de réfugiés bénéficient également des caravanes médicales organisées par le ministère de la Santé et sont inclus sans discrimination dans toutes les campagnes nationales de vaccination, notamment contre des maladies très fréquentes comme la poliomyélite ou d'autres. Malgré donc des progrès accomplis, les défis, donc, à l'instar des autres pays de l'IGAD, existent et ceci est dû particulièrement donc à la crise du financement humanitaire. Et donc nous constatons aujourd'hui des déficits de financement qui compromettent la continuité des programmes essentiels dans l'éducation, dans la santé, dans l'eau et l'hygiène, dans la protection et assistance de base et dans la lutte contre les changements climatiques. Cette situation fait peser un risque réel de frustration au sein des populations réfugiées, lesquelles pourraient, en l'absence d'intervention appropriée, générer des tensions avec les communautés hôtes. Pour les recommandations, afin que le réfugié demeure un levier de développement inclusif et non un fardeau, la République du Djibouti formule les recommandations suivantes. 1. Renforcer le partage de responsabilités au niveau régional et international en mettant en place des mécanismes de solidarité financière, notamment un fonds régional d'urgence et des mécanismes de stabilisation budgétaire afin de garantir la continuité des services essentiels. 2. Soutenir le programme de rapatriement volontaire des réfugiés et le programme de réinstallation des réfugiés dans les États tiers dans un esprit de partage des charges et de responsabilités. 3. Intensifier le plaidoyer auprès des donateurs bilatéraux et multilatéraux afin de restaurer et de stabiliser les financements humanitaires en mettant en évidence les conséquences sécuritaires, sanitaires et éducatives, ainsi que toutes les ruptures de services qui peuvent donc découler de ce manque de financement. En conclusion, je voudrais dire que l'approche que nous défendons est claire. La protection des réfugiés est une responsabilité collective qui doit se traduire par des mécanismes pérennes de financement et des politiques d'inclusion profitant à la fois aux réfugiés et aux communautés hôtes. La République de Djibouti réaffirme pleinement son engagement à poursuivre la mise en œuvre des déclarations de Nairobi, de Djibouti, de Kampala et de Mombasa. Elle continuera à ouvrir des espaces d'accueil, de protection et d'intégration, tout en appelant les partenaires à traduire leurs engagements en appui financier, technique et politique. Je tiens à exprimer donc une grande gratitude à l'IGAD et au HCR et à l'ensemble des partenaires de développement pour leur collaboration continue. Enfin, je remercie chaleureusement l'IGAD pour son plaidoyer constant en faveur de solutions durables pour les réfugiés de notre région. Merci pour votre aimable attention.
Thank you very much, Excellency Chair. After we heard from our member states, Excellency Ministers, we are very much encouraged, really, by the progress from our member states in the activities that our member states are taking place. Indeed, today's discussion also clearly shows that the clear solidarity among our member states and most importantly the citizens of the region. As we have already said, the refugees, the displaced peoples are the son of the soil. These are the citizens of this region, most of them. So the encouragement based upon the achievement that you have presented here to the IGAD is really commendable. I want to congratulate all of you. This is a very important milestone, should be recognized. You have also mentioned the challenges that you are facing and the region is facing, and beyond the region, some of the challenges that we are facing are the common challenges as Africa. Most importantly, in the area of financing and hosting refugees. This is the area which we continue to work together. IGAD is here to communicate with our partners who are here and the other partners who really come to this very important intervention which will really help the human capital and investing to human capital. So this is well taken from you, that the issue of advocacy and the issue of the shortage of finance. Your Excellencies, as a region, we have a lot of best examples. Our member states, most of our member states really host the refugees not as a refugees. There are a lot of points that you have mentioned, the issue of banking, the issue of birth certificate, education, health, all the issues that you have said is, in most of the places, it may be very difficult to incorporate the refugees in the national development agenda. So this is very, very encouraging. The other point that I want to also stress is your recommendation points. Djibouti, Kenya, South Sudan, Somalia, Uganda, Ethiopia, all of you has forwarded some of very important points that will help us as a secretariat to coordinate the next steps forward. These points definitely, either we will put it on this communique if it is not touched, or we will take it to our plan, our plan which we are going to engage for the next time. So there are a very beautiful recommendations which really can support this platform. So I can say this, that this is the most practical platform in terms of IGAD organization. We are talking about the real thing, the real challenge that our community is facing. So really, this is, you have to be very, very proud on this engagement, and the outcome of this meeting is also it's a big news, a very good news for our brothers and sisters who are in the cities or in the campus, wherever they are, but they are struggling to survive. And as the refugee representative said, maybe after they nurture, they get different things. When their countries are okay, they want to go back. So we will work on that area. I can assure you that the Secretariat is here to serve all member states on the direction that you have discussed. Thank you, Chair.
Merci, Dr Workene Gebeyou, secrétaire exécutif de l'IGAD, pour cette mise au point. Je voudrais qu'on passe maintenant à la suite de l'autre point de l'ordre du jour, qui est la présentation du communiqué.
Where is Charles? Let us not take the time of our guests. Let us start. Okay, go on.
Je pense que tout le monde a devant lui le communiqué. Ah, voilà. Voilà, là c'est plus lisible. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'll briefly take you through the communique. Communique of the Ministerial Stocktake meeting of the IGAD Support Platform, 27 November 2025, Nairobi, Republic of Kenya. We, the ministers responsible for refugees affairs, internal affairs, and related sectors of member states of the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, His Excellency Said Nur Hassan, Minister of Interior of the Republic of Djibouti, Her Excellency Taiba Hassan Kayo, Director General for Refugees and Returnee Services of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia, His Excellency Ali Yusuf Ali, Minister of Interior, Federal Affairs and Reconciliation of the Federal Republic of Somalia, His Excellency Albino Akol Atak, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management of the Republic of South Sudan, His Excellency David Rabukuba Muhozi, Minister of State for Internal Affairs of the Republic of Uganda, and His Excellency Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen, Cabinet Secretary for the Interior and National Administration of the Republic of Kenya, meeting on the 27th November 2025 in Nairobi, Republic of Kenya, under the chairmanship of the Republic of Djibouti and in the presence of His Excellency Dr. Wokne Gebeyehu, the Executive Secretary of IGAD. Also in attendance were representatives of the core group members of the IGAD support platform, namely European Union, Germany, World Bank, UNHCR, UNDP, IOM, and international development partners including JICA, Cities Alliance, UN Habitat, REDS, and Samuel Hall. Also present were representatives of the refugee-led organization, civil society organization, and academia. Recalling the 2017 Nairobi Declaration on Durable Solutions for Somali Refugees and Reintegration of Returnees, its action plan, the subsequent thematic declarations adopted in Djibouti, Kampala, and Mombasa, which collectively established a foundational regional framework for protection, inclusion, and sustainable solution for refugees, returnees, IDPs, stateless persons, and host communities across the IGAD region. Further recalling the IGAD ESC Declaration on Durable Solutions for Refugees in Eastern Horn of Africa, June 2023, that called for enhanced and coordinated regional approaches in addressing the root causes and drivers of forced displacement, reaffirming the region's commitment to fully implement the Nairobi Declaration, its subsequent thematic action plans, the IGAD policy framework on refugee protection, and the collective GRF pledges made in 2019 and in 2023. Recognizing the continued relevance of regional, continental, and global frameworks, including the IGAD Policy Framework on Refugee Protection 2023, the OAU 1969 Refugee Convention, the Kampala Convention, the 1951 UN Refugee Convention, AU Agenda 2063, the Global Compact on Refugees, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, the Paris Agreement, and ongoing dialogue on the humanitarian development peace nexus. Next page. Commend IGAD for the establishment and the launch of the IGAD Refugee Engagement Forum as a platform for empowering refugees to engage in decision-making, policy dialogue, and response planning. Applaud the progress made by member states in enhancing legal, policy, and institutional framework on protection and solutions, and commend the progress made in the implementation of the pledges made during the Global Refugee Forum in 2019 and in 2023. Acknowledge the continued support by international partners and the increased involvement of humanitarian development and development actors, private sector, as well as civil society in the provision of services to refugees, returnees, IDPs, and host communities as provided by the Global Compact on Refugees, GCR. Concerned by the ongoing humanitarian situation in the region, particularly the ongoing conflict in the Republic of Sudan, that has resulted in unprecedented levels of displacement both internally and externally. Express solidarity with the people of Sudan and call for humanitarian access, immediate ceasefire, and the peaceful resolution to the conflict. Concerned by the declining humanitarian and development funding, particularly the unprecedented reductions affecting the Horn of Africa, thereby impacting multiple programs and underscoring the urgency to support essential services in refugee hosting countries. Now, we hereby, 1, commit to maintain the solidarity and generosity of member states and communities in the region to provide asylums to persons in need of international protection and durable solutions. 2, encourage member states to accelerate implementation of legal frameworks through targeted capacity building, sustained multi-stakeholder coordination, and strengthened data systems. 3, commit to enhance the inclusion of displaced population into national systems in education, including recognition and certification, health, social protection, empowerment, climate action, civil registration, and digital identification. 4, create an enabling environment in countries of origin to encourage return and reintegration efforts and support access to basic services, social protection programs, and documentation. 5, promote the inclusion of displacement-affected communities and their respective host communities in the design and implementation of climate action plans and policies, and scale up accessible financing for host countries to address the environmental and climate change-related challenges. 6, strengthen and operationalize early warning systems and response mechanisms to anticipate, prevent, and manage conflict and crisis situations that may exacerbate displacement. 7, call upon humanitarian and development partners, civil society organizations, and other actors such as private sector to increase their financial and technical support for humanitarian development and peace-building efforts. 8, call for support, inclusion, leadership, and meaningful participation of refugees and organizations led by forcibly displaced and stateless persons in national and regional engagements around protection and durable solution. 9, task IGAD Secretariat to undertake a mapping exercise of ongoing and planned humanitarian and development investment in support of forcibly displaced persons, stateless persons, and host communities in the region to assess the scale and trends of the financial resources available to support delivery of the GRF pledges and the commitments of the Nairobi Plan of Action and its subsequent thematic declarations. 10, further task IGAD to convene regular strategic meetings of the support platform to update stakeholders on the regional dynamics, emerging trends, and development. 11, call on the international community to support ongoing efforts to re-establish peace in the Republic of Sudan. 12, promote government-led whole-of-society approaches at the national and subnational level to facilitate collaboration across humanitarian, development, and peace nexus. Lastly, 13, advance the localization agenda by fostering inclusive partnership with local authorities, civil society organizations, and refugee-led groups, coupled with increased direct budgetary allocation and technical support to strengthen local ownership and sustainability of intervention. Thank the government and the people of the Republic of Kenya for hosting this important meeting and decide to remain seized of the matter, done on the 27th November 2025 in Nairobi, Kenya. And then
merci au coordinateur de programme de l'IGAD. Alors, s'il n'y a pas de réaction par rapport donc au communiqué, je pense qu'il a été très bien travaillé. Je félicite l'ensemble des personnes qui ont travaillé pendant presque 2 journées pour préparer ce communiqué pour qu'il puisse que tout le monde puisse se retrouver. Je pense que cher ministre ici présent, je pense que nous devons passer à la signature de ce communiqué. Merci.
Excellencies and distinguished delegates, would like to thank all of you for such a vibrant session on the subject of durable solutions for refugees. We